a very successful season to date. We look at some of the goals that we've put forward and finishing top of the table. Qualifying for Champions League, but not only that, is continuing in CONCACAF League because there's a trophy at the end of that, and that's something that we've looked at as a goal of ours. So it's just continue on that success. We've had a good past 10 days behind us where we've alleviated a little bit of the pressure of playing that every 3 days. And I know we've had games, but just having to do that and letting guys kind of gear back up. It's like what we said, after that game on Tuesday. It's a new season ahead of us. It's a new season with games of do or die. It doesn't make a difference that there's 14 points between us and our opponent on Sunday because it's 90 minutes of football. And I think we have to take the experiences of, what we've talked about with the guys is probably, 7 do or die games between CONCACAF and the Canadian Championship, and take those experiences into this game, because when our output is very high, like they've been in those games, I think success comes to us.
You mentioned the CONCACAF. You've obviously got that big game coming on Wednesday, but just how important is it to take these one at a time and not look past this semifinal on Sunday?
Yeah, you can only take it one at a time, because this one is the most important one until you get to the next one. The next one is irrelevant without this one. That's the way I always look at it. So we know it's a big matchup. We have a team who's coming in here is hungry in York United, who's had a good season. They're a resilient team on the pitch. So our full focus between us, the whole staff, everyone is there. Nobody's talking about CONCACAF League. We've got other people dealing with that to provide me the file on Sunday evening.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thanks, Charlie. Next question goes over to Michael McCall. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey there, Bobby. It's been a compact season, but it's also felt like a very long season, which I'm sure for yourselves must feel even longer with battling on all the different fronts. How difficult has it been to keep the guys going? I know you've had injuries over the season, but what's been the biggest difficulties, and how have you just kept this team going?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, as coaching staff, you just keep on looking at the schedule, and there's games that are coming and they keep coming. The Sunday will be game number 37. I think most other CPL teams have played between 29 and 30 at this point. But I think the biggest strength we have in our locker room is just our structure and our philosophy. The way we want to play, the way we want to do things. We don't change a lot based on the opponents game by game, but we try and keep on improving on what we want to do. So we're not constantly overloading the players with the information, but mostly just tinkering with a few little things, little nuances from game to game. And I think that allows everyone to have a good flow. And you're not just readjusting from one game to another based on the opponents that you're having in front of us. I think, that's helped tremendously, because there is no playbook on how to do this 37 to 40 some games that we'll finish up with at the end of this year over I don't know how many days. I think we'll put it all down at the end of the year and figure out exactly how this was all done. But I think a lot of it just comes down to that nature we have in the team, the consistency we have, the football we want to play. And even if formation changes, zones of the players change, the principles are the same. So I think that allows you to keep on moving forward pretty quickly from game to game.
Now, you've been involved in the Canadian game for a number of years now, at all levels, from grassroots up, and you've seen the success of the CPL. Everyone knows how much it was needed. When you look now at the success of the national team, the success of Forge on the international stage as well, and club competition, how do you look back at this growth nationally, but also in your community as well? And do you feel there's a bigger buzz about the game of soccer in your community?
100%. I think that's the simplest way of putting it. But you go back 10 years ago and you say, where can Canadian soccer be? And there's two things you talk about. One, it's we need this exceptional talent that's being developed in this country that's playing as youth players to be able to keep on playing the game beyond youth. That was the first challenge. And we saw that started happening a lot more. And some of that happened through professional soccer, and a lot of it happened through playing in college and university soccer, just because you didn't have that next level. So you needed to find that gap in between. Then you knew we needed our own professional league. 100% we needed a professional league. And I think all of that stuff this has driven the game forward. And we've had this multitude of talented players who now weren't just youth players who were trying to figure out their path after, but actually had a path whether that took them through the US or through Europe. And we see these players succeeding. And once you have that, the game just starts growing exponentially very quickly.
Thanks so much, Bobby. Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Next question goes over to Brendan Q. Go ahead, Brendan.
Thanks, Nico. Hey, Bobby, just how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing well. Nice windy day in Hamilton.
Yeah, just looking out my own window here. It's a little bit calmer than you guys down the road, down the 401 there. But just a quick question from me on the front of availability and injuries. I know that the opposition that you're facing with York there, they'll have Cedric Toussaint out on yellow card accumulation. You guys are luckily clear on that front, but just curious whether same can be said for the injury table.
Yeah, I think at this point, the one guy that's trying to make the sprint to get back is Johnny Grant. We don't know exactly where he'll be in the next couple of days. But other than that, it's just a few players sore here and there, and we'll see how we go through training tomorrow. But for the most part, things are looking pretty good in the squad. We've obviously had to play 2 games in the last week, which just puts a little bit more stress on the bodies. But I think we've been handling it very well.
And maybe just changing tack a little bit, just building off of Michael's last question with regards to having to battle on so many different fronts. I know that a lot of focus goes into the matches and into different competitions, but obviously on the scouting side as well, things like the youth sports nationals happening right now at the same time. Just curious how much attention you're paying to that side of things, especially with some former Forge draft picks lifting the OUA trophy in Alex Ziss.
Yeah, well, definitely yesterday, as those games started, they were on our laptops and on our offices as we were watching the stream service of the games yesterday. And we can't be there live this year, but we've obviously got trusted individuals taking a look at some of the live games. We're picking up the games on video, and I've got staff watching those as well, because I think it's important to have a beat on everything that's going on in the Canadian game. We've seen that U Sport, just talking about that, has had a very good success with some players in this league, and just searching for the right players in the right positions at the right time, because it takes a lot for players to come into a squad. Especially our squad, which is a very deep squad and so on. But it's something we've used, I think, very well over the first 3 years, and bringing in some quality players, and we'll continue to do that. And with all these matches coming up, yes, your focus has to be there, but you also have to keep on looking at the bigger picture down the road and what next season looks like in the off season and all of these things. So we just make sure that the staff each has their responsibilities, and we move forward that way.
Peter, Bobby, good luck on the weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brendan. Next question goes over to Oliver Platt. Go ahead, Ollie.
Thank you, Nico. Hi, Bobby. Obviously, even by the kind of high standards you set in the first couple of years, I think it seems like this team has gone to another level and found another gear between winning the regular season and the cup competitions as well this year. When you look back at the 2019 and 2020 champions compared to this group, where are the biggest kind of areas of progress you've seen as you enter these playoffs?
Yeah, I think maybe what we've seen this year is just a little bit more tactical flexibility in the squad, changing things a little bit in the way we play and we go about things, trying to increase speed of play. If you go back to 2019, you'll keep on hearing me talking about the attack, and we do a very good job at defending. But we always want to be better there. We want to be a little bit more energetic in that final third, because I think that when we're doing that, we're exceptional. And then it's just the guys buying into their different roles and different things that we ask of them on the field. And I think that along with the experience of the last couple of years. And if you look at CONCACAF, the experience we've had playing in those competitions, they give you everything going forward, especially in that competition. It's a very unique competition to be part of, different style of teams, different environments, different pitches, and it's something we've totally bought into as a group, and we've thoroughly enjoyed, and I think that allows you to have success. But we keep on going. You keep on trying to evolve. I think that's the most important thing. So one thing I look at between myself and the coaching staff that we talk about, it's we have to continue to evolve, to keep on trying to hit new levels for this team, and sometimes that's trophies. Sometimes it's not, because it's not always going to be trophies, but it's going to be the principles or the style of play or what you're doing with certain players on the field. I think that's the one thing I look at the most as a coach, that I enjoy the most. Just the challenge, the opportunity to do something different with players and try and bring something different in the game. And I think that's allowed us to do a little bit more this season.
And just to follow up on that, you've got an enormous amount of attacking quality at disposal with, Brownie and Navarro have come in, Borges has come back, Welshman has come back. Does it give you a bit of a headache at all when you get to these games and you got to pick 11 players and presumably you have more than you're able to get in?
Yeah, I think it would give me more of a headache in a normal season where we played a game a week and there weren't midweek games. When you got the midweek games, you can keep everyone happy. That's for sure. But obviously coming down now to the playoffs, you have to look and see the qualities of your players and which ones are going to give you the best of what you need in that match. And I think that's the excellent aspect we have with all of these players. Although, you can pull one out and put one in, they give something a little bit different in that position. And based on the opponent, where you want to attack, what spaces you want to be in, I think certain guys fit those roles a little bit better than others. And I think that's a very big advantage that we have with, the amount of guys we have in the front line.
Thank you, Bobby. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. Next question goes over to Marty Thompson. Go ahead, Marty.
Hey, Bobby, just getting caught up this morning, listening to your appearance on a football podcast and Kyle's as well. So I want to ask about something Kyle said in that interview where he mentioned after the Montreal game, the kind of a shift in mentality, at least from his perspective, in the team to just focus on themselves and try to take out as much extra noise as they can. Can you speak to that and just how the team is really dialed in here in the last couple of weeks of the season?
Yeah, I think it's a big thing that they've understood. It's just focus on the tasks at hand, focus on what you need to do. We've got a way of playing, we have a way of doing things and carrying ourselves on a daily basis, whether it's in our lounge, our locker room, in training, and also in the matches. And I think that's what we need to do. We respect every opponent because every opponent brings some type of a threat to the field, but we always have to look at ourselves, and when we look at ourselves the best, we keep ourselves to a high standard in all areas, on and off the pitch. I think that brings success to us. So I think that's the one thing the guys have kept on building on this season, and a lot of the performances in some of these big games have increased that thought process in them. And I think that's something that probably Kyle's alluding to.
Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thanks, Marty. And then last question will go over to Charlie O'Connor-Clark. Go ahead, Charlie.
Thanks, Nico. Yeah, Bobby, just a couple quick ones here. Last time you guys played York there at York Lions Stadium, I think all three of your goals came from set pieces or second phase of set pieces. They're a team that's had success in those situations as well. Just how important are little details like that in a single knockout match?
Yeah, everything makes the biggest difference. How you attack set pieces, how you defend them, because the game is about inches. That's the one thing we've learned in playing in these games. It comes down to the smallest of little details. So it's something that's very important for us, something that we work on traditionally throughout the whole year, throughout our training week, so it doesn't become a special thing that you come up to certain games about. And it's something we've done very well, both on the attacking side and on the defensive side. But in these games where it's 90 minutes and one team moves on and history means nothing, these are important things that we have to look at.
And then just lastly for me, completely different topic, but Bobby, what was going through your mind on Tuesday when you saw Kyle Larin score twice against Mexico? I know he's a guy you've known for a long time. Yeah,
it's fantastic. We usually talk before games, after games, all of this stuff. And, whether he's playing at Besiktas or with the national team, we've got a very close relationship. And first and foremost, I'm just ecstatic for him. Here's a guy that I've known since he's 10, 11 years old. I've seen him grow up. I've seen him play. I know what he can do. I know what he's capable of. And it's just fantastic to see this, going back to, where Canadian soccer was 10 years ago and where it is now. It's knowing 10 years ago that there's going to be players like Kyle Larin, not just him, but players like him in the system. When you're involved in development and you see all these talented players, we're on the right path. And I'm just absolutely ecstatic that we've reached that level. we've reached where we are. We're shifting the mindset in CONCACAF on who Canada is as a soccer nation. And I always say that the national team is the best group to do that. We've done it to a degree at the club level and seeing our success in Central America. And I think that changes the minds of teams. It's obviously if you have Kyle Larin, Alfonso Davies, Jonathan David, Richie Laria, Tejan Buchanan, I can go on, and you're the opponent coach, you're thinking to yourself, I may have a problem today. And yeah, that's something we didn't have before. And it's not a knock to all the national team players that have played before, because they've done a great job representing our country. But we've never had a team that can attack like this and players that can attack like this. And that fundamentally shifts the way a coach looks at a game. And I know what other coaches are probably thinking when they're lining up against Canada these days. And I think that's great. And with Kyle being a guy who scored 2 goals, I know he thoroughly enjoyed it. He absolutely loved it. Don't know if he was the biggest fan of the cold. We talked about the next day, but 3 points and they're on their way. So absolutely delighted for them.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Bobby. Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. And sorry, this will be the last question for Alf. Go ahead, Alf.
Hi, thanks. Bobby, just quickly, Omar Brownie figured in both of Panama's games last week, and I presume he's come back in good health. So do you have an idea of how you are planning to integrate him into the match?
Yeah, he was back in Hamilton on Wednesday night in good health. Got all his reports back from the national team down there, which was very good. Just so we are able to monitor his loads and make sure that he's in a good place. He's been training the last couple of days, and looks like he hasn't missed a beat. I know he had 2 good performances down with the national team, because we obviously watched his games down there just to see how he was doing, and I think he'll be an important player for us going forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of dramatic moments in the games that we played. We played against them, a couple of things said to one another. But I think, honestly, next to this game, the most important game that we played against them was the inaugural match, because it started something new, started something big in Canada, started something that a lot of people within the Canadian Soccer Association have been working on for years. So I think that inaugural match that we had at Tim Hortons Field in 2019 was just as big as the one that we have coming up. Obviously, this one's a knockout game, so yeah, it's important in terms of silverware. But yeah, both of these games, this one and the inaugural game, yeah, those 2 are probably the most important games we played.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kwame. Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. And then next question goes over to Oliver Platt. Go ahead, Ollie.
Hey, Kwame, good to see you. I just wanted to ask you a little bit about the fullback position, because it seems there's a lot of good fullbacks in the CPL, but I don't think there's any that are kind of as flexible and adaptable as you are. Sometimes you're attacking as a wing back, sometimes you're going into central midfield and kind of dictating the game from there. Just how much kind of have you grown as a player this season, given those different challenges and the flexibility that's been asked of you?
I give a lot of flexibility in terms of tactics to Coach Bobby, and I'm someone that pays attention to detail. I watch a lot of film on myself, and games after every game that comes back in our Insta. I always watch the games and just figuring out ways I can free up myself or create space for my teammates, create space for our key attackers like Mo, Tristan, Becker, to help them create and help them score goals. I mean, yeah, most of the time I'm on the wing, in the wing back position, where I'm helping create as well. But I think the flexibility has helped me, and just growing up, having coaches like Bobby and coaches like Patrick Vieira, probably the 2 better coaches that I've had in my career, is just, you learn a lot from them. Like being able to be inverted and play center mid, it was because of Patrick Vieira, and playing wing back the way I play wing back is obviously because of Bobby and our times at Sigma. So I think he gives me the confidence, and he gives me the green light to either invert, either to go up. And it's just being able to have the soccer IQ and the knowledge and the chemistry with the players on the team for the last 3 years.
Did it take some time for the team to kind of get that structure right? Because it is so precise in that everyone's in one space. It's all spaced out properly. There's no players kind of tripping over each other, and it's got to a pretty high level this season.
Yeah, I mean, we tried it. I know we tried it in the first year, and I think a lot of it has to do with just training on it, and then chemistry, playing. In the first year, yeah, we played with each other in academy, but a lot of guys went their separate ways, and then coming back, a lot of guys' games have changed. So I mean, this year we've worked on it, and then yeah, it's done really well. Sometimes it works when you've been running up and down in the wing back position to be inverted to have a little break, but yeah, and a lot of it's communication as well. I mean, the left side rotation that I have with Becker and Mo or Daniel Crutzen, we know exactly when and how and where everyone wants to be, so it works perfectly.